There we are. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sisters interview. I am Rithkin, and my co-host is Aishaksi, my sister. Tonight, we are very lucky to have Master Grendal, who is a Laurel and a Master and a Lion of Vontier. So, and a Forged in Fire winner. So that's pretty cool too. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. We usually start these with your SCA origin story. So if you can tell us, where, when, how you found the SCA, that would be great.
Oh, okay. Well, back in the old days, 1979, I went to college at the University of Washington, and I ran into a SCA/Markland demo, and had a lot of fun whacking people with foam swords and other things like that. So I started getting the armor together, and so back in those days, it was whatever you could get to get you out there and doing something. So my first set of armor was a bunch of red indoor-outdoor carpet made into a big poncho to put a square hole in it and just dropped it over my head. So the shoulders came way out, so I was even bigger than ever. So I was the big red troll. So of course I had to say, well, what sort of name goes with the big red troll? I thought Grendal. Originally it was Rasputin Grendal or Grendal Rasputin, something like that, but dropped the Rasputin part. That was the first couple of years there.
What was the other group that you mentioned? Was that
the Markland Medieval Militia? They did sort of. They would have rattan swords with a bunch of padding on it, and they'd whack each other with that. Sir Blackhand was part of that group, and he got his name because he used black grip tape on all his swords, which turned his hands just totally black. So that's one of the first people I met with Sir Blackhand. He was a sir at that time too. So.
Oh wow.
So.
Did he sort of become a mentor, or who was your mentor? Do you think early
on? Not really a mentor, because I think he was in Portland and I was in the Seattle area. But anyway, all of us started within a year or two of each other. So they're like Sir Garen Darkwolf, a Whedon of Cronsdale, Pickrate of Anlin, which is a chemical joke. Well, they were from like Tacoma, and they would like travel up to Seattle, and they would travel down to Portland. So for the first couple of years, I was going to school at UW. Then I went to school at University of Puget Sound. Computer science, mathematics. There you go. So mainly it was most of the fighting for the first 4 or 5 years, but I played string bass since I was like 10 years old. So every once in a while, I drag my instrument out to an event and play some music, and people would just go, "What?" Like, yeah, I can do more than swing a stick. Somewhere in there, I can't remember when, I started brewing some beer, so I got into beer making. Basically modern beer making, because you do period stuff, you can end up with not all that tasty stuff. So that's where it started in college in 79, fall of 79.
So did you end up squiring to anybody?
Sort of to Garen. I was a squire, but he never gave me a belt. He gave me a sword. And then said, "If you bend that around your waist, I will beat you." I went, "Well, I could try, but no." Mostly so he could speak for him, because I was around when he got knighted and stuff. He got knighted, I think, like the first crown of Vontier. No, it was like the second one or something like that. Anyway.
So how long was it before you sort of made more real armor? Like, did you make your helmet eventually, or
no, I bought a helm And it took about a year, maybe a year and a half before I had some. I took the carpet, cut it up, and sewed it into a bunch of canvas. And then I tried the Diet Red, and that didn't work. I tried this big pink padding thing. That worked for about a year. But it was like I put way too much padding in it. So it was just like people had like hit me. I'm like, I guess I should take that because I think I don't know. Maybe you hit me. I don't know. And then I think I did the black scales at some point. Oh, I did a leather, boiled leather. That was, it worked sort of, but as soon as I got out in the sun, it sort of got soft. So it didn't really stop anything.
Ouch.
So most of the times I've seen you fight, you usually fight with like a mace or I don't know, some sort of not a sword.
Yeah.
How did you get into the weapons forms that you chose, and what were they?
I chose like I would one guy, Daniel Shady Grove. There's a name blast from the past. He had this one-handed axe I used a lot, and my whole style was to scream and charge and spin this axe around my head and smash people. It never actually worked. It scared everybody, but never actually worked very well. And then I made myself a big two-handed great axe. That was my main fun thing to do. Of course, after a while, you realize you're burning 3 times the energy just to stay even with a big axe. So I did, use a sword and shield for quite a while. Big heater shield to start with, and then I went to when pretty much a lot of people started doing the whole Norse thing. That they're doing, started using a round shield. But I figured out, hey, if I curve this a little bit, it balances better. So I had a curved round shield, and that worked better. It looked like it was an oval because of the way it was worked. So then I had a dished round shield at one point, and it worked even better. But that was wood, so it died. Wandering off on stuff. So now I've got a full shirt of chainmail or chain and splint arms and legs. I had a really nice Rus helm made by Steingrim, but that got stolen in like 1999 or something like that. 2099, 2000. June's over there looking at me like, what am I doing?
I thought maybe somebody was prompting you off
Oh,
camera.
it's not started yet? It's not. June says it's not started on Facebook.
I can see it.
I can see it too, and it says we have 20 viewers, but we're not getting any comments. So, we are getting comments.
Do you see her name on the viewing?
No, I don't.
Cat?
We are getting comments though, so people
It's
are
a
watching.
Zoom meeting, yeah. So it's not on Facebook, it's on Zoom.
It's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook. If she goes to my timeline, I have a public post with it there that she can find.
Go to
Go to Misty Edmondson.
Go to Misty's thing. There should be a public thing you can go on. She's going upstairs to her computer now.
Yeah, she's got to watch it.
It's very important.
Technology.
Yeah.
It will be on the page for later too.
Yeah,
so
more fun on live, I guess.
It is. It's totally more fun alive. Okay, I'm totally off track now. Where were we?
Off track now.
We were talking about fighting and his curved round.
Yeah, my current armor is a full shirt of chain with splint arms and legs. And it currently is a bassinet helm that I borrowed from George Slade about 15 years ago, or 10 years. Well, more than 15 years ago, because when my helmet got stolen, he let me loan his.
Oh,
I really should get it back to him, but he hasn't asked for it. So
it's
I
a
think
I think he
thermalone.
did. Yeah. Voodoo. So
Okay, so
I pretty much fight like once a year now because it hurts my knees and back and stuff.
okay.
And I'm too busy doing the blacksmithing stuff. So, oh well.
So how did you get into the blacksmithing stuff?
Okay, so 95-ish, we were over at Farragut State Park, And Mishka brought a little coal forge, and I got a chance to play on that. So that was fall crown. And then the next spring was our 30th year, 25th, whatever, the one at the fairgrounds here in Vancouver, Washington. So I was there for the week, and I got to play on stuff a lot then. I thought that was a lot of fun. So I made a Damascus knife there. My first knife ever was a Damascus knife, kind of backwards. And by the next fall, I had my own forge, a bunch of several anvils, hammers, and I was going on it. Lots of fun. 99, 2000, I moved to Bellingham for a job. And that was just the year of hell. Moved back, and I pretty much burned out on doing computers. So I started doing blacksmithing full time. I called it self-unemployed. So how do you make $1 million? Well, you start with 2. And then you end up with 1. Now, about a year before you die, people go, hey, this guy's pretty good. Then by that time, you're like too tired to make stuff. But whatever.
Yeah, by the time you have time, you have arthritis, right? At least
Yeah, by the
that's-
time you get good, you're like going, all right, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm just tired or hurt or something.
Yeah.
So
Well, actually, no.
I have
Right.
a vague understanding of what Damascus is, but can you explain why you think it's backwards that you made a Damascus knife first?
Oh, when you're doing smithing, knife making is more like a specialized subset. So my general interest to start with was just in general blacksmithing, making hooks, making little gates and stuff like that. But of course, Mishka made knives, so I learned how to make knives first. And Damascus, or pattern welded, properly called, is a very even more smaller subset skills. I just happened to make something first, and then, oh, I got some pattern welded steel here. Well, now what? Well, I should make a knife out of it, I guess. And so I did. It took me like 2 or 3 weeks to grind it into something reasonable. I still got it sitting around somewhere. I should have brought it in. Oh
Very
well.
cool. That's super cool.
It looks like a Viking bread knife, so it's like kind of weird.
Cool. I like that you kept it.
Yeah, well, I pretty much couldn't sell it or anything. The handle fell off eventually, so I just have the blade sitting around.
Cool.
It was cable, so it has this little sort of snake skinny pattern on it. It's kind of neat.
Wow.
And I made it at the fairgrounds for 30th year, I think it was. Right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we
that
had
was a big
20th down. Yeah, the 20th year down in Texas.
Yeah, 30th was up here.
We didn't do it. No one did a 25, so we did a 30, right?
Yeah.
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 So yeah, it was 30th year. I made a knife.
And you've been hooked ever since.
Pretty much, it's like, especially after 2000. I think part of it was at the end of the day and doing computing programming and stuff. You have nothing. There's nothing in your hands. Nothing there. Especially I was working for Sharp and stuff, and they were. Got to the point where even if I finish this program, I know no one is going to use it because they were already 2 years behind schedule, and all of the stuff I was working on was obsolete. So I'm going, so I changed jobs, working on networking stuff, down in the really low level networking stuff. Just about got that figured out, and then they cut back everybody. So it's like, oh well. I said, forget it. I was on way too much antidepressants. I said, I'm just going to stop. So it works out. I can go out and bash on metal and make things and have a very good time at it.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's kind of pivot back to fighting.
Sorry.
How long? What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We're gonna
Pivot?
we're
Okay,
gonna
we're
pivot.
pivoting.
Yep. Is that one of those weird buzzwords you're not supposed to use? So you ended up sort of squiring to
Darren.
Darren?
Or
wow.
Darren Steingrimson, or whatever he changed his name to.
How long were you a squire?
Oh, let's see. I know we did it then. Like 2 or 3 years, I think.
Okay.
And his comment was not really, since we all started fighting within about 6 months or a year of each other, the whole group. So he's saying, oh, this isn't really because I'm trying to teach you anything. It's just, well, so that he could go into Knights Council and go, hey, here's this guy, check him out. Which, of course, I had a whole bunch of, this guy just wants to be a big troll. He's not really a medieval guy. I'm like, well, okay, fine. And I just kept doing stuff. And like a 12th night and something was, oh, you gotta be ready for getting it. And I'm like, okay, I got all excited and then it didn't happen. And I think I have this idea of like when you don't want to tell someone they're going to maybe get knighted or laureled or whatever, and then not have anything. And then after a while, they get really pissed off about it. Or like I did, I went, whatever. Then they go, okay, he's ready then. When you get to the point where you go, whatever. And they go, okay, shit, all right, he's got the right attitude now. Here, have the do thing. I was like, really? Okay, fine.
It is very weird how that seems to be the case quite often.
Yeah, I had the same experience. Dagmar was trying to get me to not leave court, and I had an infant, and I was tired, and I was done. And she was like,
You're just going, no.
Yeah, she was like telling me what I needed to do to become a laurel, and I finally like looked at her and I said, you know what? I don't care.
I don't care.
I just want to do my thing. I don't want to jump through all these hoops anymore. And then they called me up. So
Yep, that's it. Yeah. People keep asking about laurels or knights and stuff. It's actually a little bit different with knights and laurels and stuff. So it's for some reason it's okay to say I want to be a knight, but it's not really okay to say I want to be a laurel. I don't know why. That's kind of stupid.
We're working on changing that.
We're
yeah,
trying to change that. Really, it's people ask, well, what do I have to do? Is that, well, go out there, learn stuff, have fun. But what do I have to do to be a laurel? Learn stuff and have fun and teach other people. That's it. Don't, of course, people have to see you somewhere, so you have to go out and do events and things. But if you're not comfortable doing that, then just say, hey, I'm learning this stuff. Anybody want to come over and talk about it? And sure. But like I said, you don't care. Well, to me now, it's like, oh boy, I get to sit in another meeting.
yay.
That's what I asked them when they gave me the lions. Do I have to go to a meeting? They all said no. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take it then.
All right, then I'll take it. That'd be fine. That's
Funny.
like a court baroness, barony is kind of cool that there's no meetings.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. I think it's an excellent thing. So when did they actually offer you? How did that happen?
I don't. Did
And
they
you
do
don't
it?
have to
Was that
remember the date.
It was at the July coronation out on a farm. We had a great view of Mount Rainier. So I
Nice.
can't remember what year it was. Well, it was before 95. And I can't remember if they told me like the week before or something like that, but they must have, because they had a knighting, the big white tunic for the knighting ceremony. It was Barracklin, Long and Tall, and Liesel as king and queen. And Dion de Montel went right before me.
Oh, wow.
Or they had his knighting somewhere in the middle. I was the last thing on the court. For some reason, they thought they wouldn't be able to control court after that. I don't know.
So you were elevated July 1984.
Oh God, that long ago.
That long ago. And I'm getting messages from Kat at the same time. I'm trying to juggle everything. And you didn't take a knighthood. You took a master at arms. Tell me about how that went down. And did you know that you were going to do that?
I was pretty sure I was going to do that. There was something I was going to do and I forgot to do it because of all the moments, but mainly, and people ask me why the master, and functionally in the SCA, it's the only difference is you're not required to swear some sort of fealty oath every time you go around. You have the choice. That's basically the only difference. It really should be called knight errant, or in Japanese it'd be Ronin, masterless samurai. So you could switch, and then if you switched, you'd change your title. Uh, and in the SCA, it was because of something way back when one guy just said he couldn't swear an oath for some religious reading. I think it was some sort of religious thing. And so they made this Master at Arms thing, which is like, okay. But really, Sir Grendal didn't sound right. And I really liked Master Montford. And so that's mostly why I picked it. And also I said, I'm not restricted from swearing fealty. I can if I want to. So something in the back of my mind, I was going to go, no, I don't want to be this. I want to be Master at Arms. And the ceremony happened. And I can tell Barrick was kind of flustered because they only have one of these happen every 20 years. So they're quick and looking through the book of all things for court. And they're like, I don't know. Where's the thing for Master at Arms? Well, do you want to swear fealty? No. Okay, here's a baldric. All right, good. I was planning on, in this space, just going, okay, is there any further business? Yes, I would like to swear fealty. Watchfield go, but I have a choice. I could do it if I want to. I forgot to do it. I didn't do it. That would have been so cool. Because years later, Barrick was asking both Barrick and Liesel asked about, was it something about them? I was like, oh no, it was just me. It's just me being strange. Because I obviously can't be normal. Normal is a setting on your dryer. That's it. That's all it is. Of course, talked about this group. Normal doesn't apply.
It doesn't.
Anyway, so yeah, I took it mainly because I thought I was too strange to be a knight, and I really liked Master Montford. I thought he's really cool. But then later on I did start thinking about, well, this oath of fealty thing is, yeah, it's a big game we're doing, but it has meaning. And if I have to do it every time, it sort of loses the meaning. So I did swear one time to William and Siobhan, making sure I get the William names right. And again, that was sort of like I was standing there, I was staring at him. He was staring at me, going, go on, do the master's toast, get done. And I went, no, this is right. And I started to do the swearing fealty thing. Again, there was a couple of things I probably should have done different, but at that time, for some reason, it just felt really right to do it for him.
That's awesome. I remember I was there, and it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
The crowd was like, what?
Everybody's going nuts. Sort of upstaging the previous king, who was a bitch bag, but anyway. He who shall not be named. Anyway, so.
Yeah. So in some ways, it was probably a little kind of refocusing and letting go of the past.
The junk back there, yeah.
I
thought it sort of, I thought we need to help out the kingdom and do that. Then that seemed to help out.
Yeah, it was a good positive focus for sure.
And if I was a knight and I swore every time, I couldn't have done that. That was my one big thing there, or one of my big things anyway.
What do you consider some of your other big things?
My note. And no, I can't re-say that, but
You walked right into that one.
I did. That's really bad.
no straight line shall go unstomped on.
That was like.
So let's see. My big things. Oh, I do all sorts of stuff, and it really confuses a lot of people. So I was doing the fighting. I play music. I had a string bass to start with, and after I got out of college, literally my first full paycheck I ever got went to buying the Dagamba there. So,
And you play beautifully.
oh, thank you. I'm a, I would say semi-pro, better than most amateurs, but not, I'm not good enough to do professional stuff. Like I have played professionally, but not consistently and long enough to really do it. So,
And it's really fun to watch people who don't know that you play that, and they just think that you're the big forge monkey. Then you sit down and you bring out this instrument and you make just this beautiful music, and people are like,
yeah, I did. We did a demo for when the Magna Carta was on tour. It came through Portland, so we were doing a bunch of fighting demo. So I'm still in armor, and I walk over to this tent, put a big towel across my lap to protect the instrument, and I start playing. I'm still in armor, and these 4 or 5 sort of fighter, modern groupie type guys were like, "Hey, look, he's what?" And they were just like, "Huh? What? Who that?" Well, yeah, of course I play music. Doesn't every knight or chivalry? No? Not all of them. Some of them try to sing. That's kind of bad.
I don't have a musical bone in my body. I appreciate it, but that's about it.
You can play those. Okay, whatever.
See, I'm going to play along with you. I will.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
So yeah, so I do music. I do that. I made a bunch of beer. I actually, I didn't win any awards, but I did some pretty good stuff. Unfortunately, then I got the reputation of someone who knew how to judge brewing contests. Unfortunately, the SCA, they would submit wine, mead, and beer all into the brewing contest. I'm like, I can make beer and I like to taste beer. I have no idea what a wine's supposed to taste like. So unfortunately, I think one of the times I got really drunk while I was testing, and I think some of my comments weren't all that great. So I don't think they ever asked me again. So
well,
I
that's a
did learn.
Go out.
Yeah, several other people who are really good at wine tasting. They say, all right, this wine has these are the characteristics. Well, I would taste it and go, okay, I can identify those characteristics. I don't want to drink it because I don't like wine,
yeah.
but I could judge it on a set criteria. But judging a wine versus a beer,
It's very different.
we had points and stuff. I still didn't think it was great because you could have a pilsner and a stout, 2 completely different beers. I'm not going to judge them against each other at all. There's no way. If you had categories. Anyway, so that's my rant on that. The beer, I did music, I did archery. What? No. I have got 2 longbows and a crossbow. For a couple of years, I did that. Because I had one of my squires was Julian Edwards Farnsworth. He was like the archery guy of all volunteer for quite a while.
He really
So,
was.
weird little thing. So he was one of my squires. I had Gavin was my first one. I had Adric the White Embrace. Guy's 6'9", really cool
I
dude.
remember him.
I haven't seen him in a while. Julian and Cyrus Hammerhand. He hasn't shown up in a while. And for a long time, I had like 4 or 5 squires. Gavin was the only one that was younger than me. All the rest of them, like Julian was a good 15, 20 years older than me. And the other ones are like 10. So I was like, what's going on with this? Oh well, we're having fun. Which is the main thing, is as long as you're having fun, it works out. Anyway, don't know where this is going. So other big things, music things.
So
And now, yeah.
So you had 2 squires go on to be barons, Julian and Ivan.
Yep.
Yep. And
Well, Julian, I can't remember if he was already baron of whatever. Anyway, he was a baron at one point. I can't remember what it was before.
Okay. And then one sat the throne.
Well, if you count also Aiden up in Canada. he won the crown up there. So that and Devon. I think Aiden was a baron somewhere. Samuel Grimborn. You sort of like Samuel was the perennial squire who kept on either moving away from his knight or his knight moved away from him. So he kept on having to switch all the time. So eventually he ended up with, as one of my guys, which was cool. But then he went off to get his doctorate in psychology or something like that. And I haven't seen him in years.
Wow.
Cyrus moved to California at one point in time. Haven't seen him in years.
Do you have
Karamuchi was this big guy in macrame armor, which was kind of interesting. He was at Ainu, which is the original inhabitants of the Japanese islands. So
yeah, and
otherwise known as the big hairy ones.
they have really cool art in that culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The macrame armor was I thought was it actually worked really well for SCA stuff. It just with giant pads.
Wow.
So anyway.
Wow. Whatever happened to him?
Something not nice, I think. I think he ended up with some sort of condition. And I just sort of lost track of that. Sorry.
So your focus now is more with your forge students. Is that the right word to use?
Teaching smithing, teaching blacksmithing and blade making and stuff like that. It's the majority of what I do nowadays. I do get some commissions to do various things. I've got some nice, there's one guy's making his second of 3 railings for him. So I'm making some wrought iron railings for him.
How fun.
I have made some riveted pots. That didn't work very well, but it was a good try. Spears, axes, all sorts of a lot of the cooking people like it because they go, hey, we need this. We saw this in a book. We want to try one of these. Okay, I'll make one of those. What's it used for? We don't know either. Okay, fine. I'll make one and see what happens. That's one of kind of neat things.
You always seem to have steaks on hand too.
Tent stakes?
Yeah.
Oh God, tent stakes.
You saved our bacon at that one super windy event up in the gorge. Our yurt was like doing a lowrider thing with the wind.
Whee!
It was so scary. And I had all the
flying
kids
saucer.
So I somebody quick went and got some steaks from you and we staked it down and they're great. They're like super long. We love them.
Yeah. Let's see, one of the years after I started doing smithing, I went down to Estrella or Estrella, depending on how you mispronounce it. And I said, oh, Merchant Row, I want to do blacksmithing. Oh, cool. So they put me on the end. I started. So it was I got there like Tuesday, set up. So Tuesday evening, some of the earlier arrivals were coming in, more of the merchants and stuff, but not like general. From Tuesday afternoon until I was trying to tear down on that Sunday, I was constantly making things at that event for people at the event, which was really cool. It's kind of tiring, but it was like, hey, this is like a real job. It's a fun job. So it's great.
Was that kind of what made you realize that you could do it as a full-time job? Or were you already heading that direction?
I probably was already heading that direction, but it was, I know people who'd make a full-time job, they don't make a lot of money at it. It's not that much. And then Liesel von Longenthal, we're at one of the other events later on, and she was sitting in her camp thinking, oh, I need to do this. I need to go out and get this. And she just stopped and said, the blacksmith right over there. We can just walk over there and have him make something for us. And she's going, the ultimate medieval village. We need something. Oh, let's go over and get the blacksmith to make it for us.
Just walk over and have it now.
Yeah, it's like it worked out really well. Of course, one of the Ontario West Wars down in that Gold Beach, that nice, where it's constantly windy at various times, not usually really bad. So I always make sure I had a bunch of stakes made up. This guy walks up and says, I just bought 3 new pavilions. I need 150 stakes.
Oh my gosh.
So he needed about 100. And that weekend I made on site about 100.
Wow.
Or would have got me like, okay, I can do those really quick now. I figured out a way to turn them out really darn fast.
And do you have your students work with you at events in the Forge?
Oh yeah, whenever I'm at an event and I've got my forge set up, I've got a couple of students who come in and help out and work on stuff. And anybody who wants to give it a try, I'm usually, okay, here, come on back. Make sure you don't burn yourself. Here's all the safety stuff. And give them a try. It's like making a steak, making a tent steak, which is pretty easy to do. It's easy if you know what you're doing. It's hard if it's like your first thing you're trying to do. A lot of times people look at stuff and go, why are you charging that much money for it? Well, here, go ahead, try to make one. And then you go, okay, here's your money, give me them. It just mainly shows them that, yeah, it takes, the piece of steel for a steak is like 25 to 50 cents.
Right.
I charge like $5. And you go, why that? Well, here's my steak. Here's a commercial one. Here's one of those guys' steaks, and see which one is better.
Yeah.
Because it takes me, even when I know what I'm doing, 5 minutes to make each one. So
right. And it's not just the time it takes you to make it. It's the thousands and thousands of hours that you've put into learning and mastering your craft. Yeah.
You're not paying for the 5 minutes. You're paying for the 20 years of me being able to swing a hammer to make it in 5 minutes.
Yep.
So your first steak, you takes an hour because you don't know what you're doing. Nose. Okay.
I don't know why people can't wrap their head around that. I mean, it's the same reason why doctors and lawyers are so much an hour, right? It's not about the 15 minutes they're going to spend doing your thing. It's about the 8 years of law school or 8 years of med school or whatever.
Yeah, there's a certain, if you've taken 10 years to learn your craft or whatever, or business, then you're not charging for the 10 minutes, you're charging for that much.
Your expertise.
It's worse when people look at you and say you've got a doctor or a lawyer, they can, oh, you did that much school, okay, you're good. You get someone who's pounding metal, it's a little bit harder to convince people that, yeah, I took 20 years to get good at it.
It's the same with textile arts. It's kind of fun to watch people, go, oh, well, I can make that, and they do it, and they're like, oh.
And you're going, go ahead. All right, you got it. Go ahead. It was Foggy was talking one time and said people, the guys would willingly shell out $500-600 for a piece of armor, like a chest plate or something, or like a full suit, like $1,000 almost.
Yeah.
But then you want $50 for a gambeson? He goes, it's tailored. It's going to fit you. Yes, it's going to be $300. Yeah, at that point, if you're quibbling over 300 for the gambeson versus the 1,000 for that, you're going, all right, just get stuff. Wear a t-shirt underneath, whatever you want.
Go get a moving blanket and leave us alone.
Yeah, go give it a try. Yeah, see how long that lasts before you start scratching yourself to death.
All right, well, let's look at some pictures. Your lovely wife put together some photos for us, and this is the last one. So
okay, so there's Angharad and me in my very first outfit that Arabarad made for me. I don't know what I'm holding there. Looks like a dagger or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny that you were holding a knife.
Yeah, this is like 79 or 80.
She says 1982.
Oh, so this is probably at an Eagles, I believe.
I think
back
that's
when my glorious beard was still black. And there's me and William.
Is that you swearing fealty?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. There it is. Yes, that's it. And looking at William and Siobhan crying away or trying not to cry,
And your squire here in the background, he's on guard.
going, what the hell is he doing? He doesn't swear fealty. What's going on? Yeah.
Crazy. And that was 2002.
Yeah. There's a 79 or 80. So that's me in the black scales. It must have been 80 or 81 because I switched schools in like 82 or 83. And that's a Whedon of Crownsdale. And this is me fighting with one of the few times I was fighting with a sword. And a big heater, plastic heater shield.
Yeah.
And
Sword and shield is not what we're used to seeing from you. And this is interesting. So this is actually an axe. I was thinking it was a
Yep.
hammer, but it's an
no,
axe.
it's axe. And it's 2 roses, supposedly. That was one of my first ideas for a device. And now my device is a axe hafted or a rose hafted of an axe head. So it's got the double-bitted axe head and then on a top of a rose with a stem and everything. There is my appearance on Forged in Fire. So when I talked to them, they had a video interview. And at the end of the interview, they were talking about, well, because I was being Mr. Interview, nice and calm and, interview. And they said something about, we could use a little more energy. And Kat just started laughing and laughing. So here's me going, wow, into the camera in the middle of the forging session. I
And
figured at some point the producer would have said, "God, keep it down, keep it down." Nope, they never did. So
they
they got
loved it.
so here's on the show that you do a 3-hour make a knife, and then you do another section of a 3-hour make a handle. So there's a cameraman on each of the 4 contestants. So there's 12 hours of us making stuff that gets reduced down to a 10-minute segment. So of course they're going to use the crazy man screaming at the camera, but whatever.
And tasting the metal. I remember watching you and you were tasting
Yeah.
all the metal.
I went,
Yes.
well, what they missed it is that I said some guys can taste it and know what the metal is. So I tried it. I can't do that. And they cut that part out, so I was tasting the metal. So later on, in the second part, I was mixing up the epoxy for the handle, and I went sniff, and I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what brand it is, but it stinks."
Oof.
That's when they made the comment, "Is he tasting the epoxy?" No, I did not taste the epoxy. It was just nasty.
Oh.
And these rainbow suspenders are kind of iconic for you.
Well, they keep my pants up.
Yeah, gotta wear them.
Yeah, a long time ago, I stopped. If I was wearing a belt, it would like dig in too much, and I just started wearing suspenders. And they're oh so much more comfortable for me. And if I bend over to pick something up, I don't do the whole butt crack thing.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
just to put that little image in your head. I don't know where I was doing this.
This,
Some big building in the background.
yeah, one of the fairground sites, but that's sort of your standard forged tunic that you wear.
Yeah, it's a heavy canvas, or not canvas, but it's heavy material. This burgundy purplish thing. There's me with the gamba. That was in Wastekeep, I think, for one of the things.
Being very peaceful.
Okay, so here is Grendalina. So at one of the Baroness's Wars, they had a contest. They gave each team a pile of fabric, and they said, use all the fabric and make an outfit. So they go, we'll get Grendel, so that will use up a lot of fabric right there. And then they decided to make it a Norse women's dress. And all the excess fabric went into stuffing the chest area. I don't think you can actually see any of that. And I turned to Ivan Drenger, Jerry, my squire. I said, you want to go up in court. And I just turned, I am not going to do this sober. Get me a drink. So Yeah, it was. Ivan has the constitution of a dwarf or something like that. You go make a drink, and so he brings in this drink. I'm like, did you put any cranberry juice in the Everclear? It's 50-50. I'm like, oh great, 100 proof cranberry juice.
In a big horn.
In a
In a
giant,
big horn.
well, in one of my, not the giant horn, but one of my other horns. Yeah, so I was completely blitzed in court with that. I was just ripped.
Good times.
Yeah, I think they stopped court because I just wouldn't shut up or something. All right, we can't get over him. And there's me in my scale armor with plate legs, with my big chair, which Uliam Drummond made for me because I couldn't fit in any chair. So we took measurements and did stuff, and he made it for me. And oh, why has he got a throne? And I sat down in. No, it's not a throne. It's just a big chair.
It's just a big chair. How tall are you?
6'4" ish. And I think that is Barrack and Liesel's son's son. I can't remember the name. I think so.
Johannes?
Johannes.
Johannes. Maybe a little girl. What year was this?
Yeah.
2017. Oh no, it's the boy. It's the I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, they say, here, hold on to the kid. And I'm, oh, okay, I'll hold on to the kid. Yeah, cute little guy.
You like the babies though.
They're cute. And I like them because then they can go, here. Okay, good. Have them back. The perennial wicker straw hat for everybody to keep them from dying.
This is 1994 May Crown.
Way down south, I think. That's 20th year, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Down in Texas.
And it's a watermarked photo from the Kendall collection. That's Melissa Kendall that you're talking to with Duke Steingrim and Duke Torgel. And Duke Steingrim is wearing hose.
Yep. He's being the foofy guy.
Do you have a favorite 20-year story?
Various things. So somewhere towards the very end of it, Sir Garin had walked around the day in a kilt. Well, he's 6'8" or 6'7", something stupid. And the kilt was not really long enough for him, so his calves got completely sunburned.
Mm.
Well, it's like one of the last nights. So he's sitting in, can't remember which, some other kingdom's, he's sitting on the throne with a drink, sort of in this kilt. And they were like, well, okay, it's last night, who cares? But a bunch of guys came walking up and said, oh, you got to get up. We got to reset the throne because apparently it wobbled a little bit. So he goes, okay, he gets up, takes his drink. He turns around and watches these four guys sort of push everything back together, and they all step back, and the throne went ka-chunk. It just fell apart.
Oh, no.
He goes, glad it didn't happen when I was sitting on it, and walks off. Watching Torgel basically go through the entire week event, and any tournament when he entered, there was like 2 tournaments a day. He won every single tournament he entered, and virtually, okay, during the entire week, the only person who actually wounded him, I mean, took his leg, was Edward Ian Anderson.
Oh, wow.
But he still lost. Edward still lost, but he was the only one to actually put a stick on him during a tournament.
Wow.
So that was Torgel's. All right, I want to be God at 20th year. Okay, now my body can break down. Okay.
He built the legend and it still lives.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
That's what I'm cruising on my legend. Okay. Everybody thought this white cloak was some champion's cloak. No, this June just made me a nice cloak, nice Byzantine cloak.
So you two were together. When did you meet her? And did you meet her in the SCA? I've never heard this story.
Oh, this is a crazy story. Sort of in the SCA with Edward Ian and stuff. We went to.
I'm gonna stop pictures.
Okay. We went to Crown Eagles, I think it was. The one time we had both on the same weekend. And when we came back, we found out that Davin's girlfriend had been murdered. So there was like this 3 or 4 days of everybody sort of crying on each other's shoulders and stuff. And she had just recently got divorced from the Pinhead, which he also will not be named. So he sort of bonded during that time. Edward sort of threw her at me. I caught her and goes, "Here you go." And she's like, "No way! I don't want anything to do with anybody." So yeah, I met her at a funeral or wake, and for some reason it stayed together. I'm not quite sure about that. She's so cute.
Oh,
My blue-eyed kitty.
You guys are an awesome couple. All right, so, and there she is. Oh,
Yep, there she's on the side there. Let's see what's going on here.
okay. Sorry, I'm having screen sharing challenges. Let me
Oh,
figure
that's all right.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so there's in the armory up in Everett, Aquaterra. Yeah. So this is that really smooth concrete floors that when they get a little bit of dust on them turn frictionless.
Woo!
So over to the right, the really tall guy on the right hand side pointing with the staff, that's Adric of the Wide Embrace. 6'9" of just this neatest guy. He's a park ranger. So
What a cool job.
yeah. And there's me. I think this is at a. Oh yeah, Port Gamble.
yeah, it
Oh,
looks like a June fair or something.
June
June
Fair.
Fair. Yeah. Because that's what I see in the background is the Port Gamble stuff. Here's my forge thing. And there's me being all suave and debonair. Yeah. Oh, and that red cloak was from. There was some when Torgal had been king and Dak was a knight, and they would enter tournaments, and it was always those two in the finals, with Torgal winning most of the time. But one of the tournaments was they had these two red cloaks. The winner of the tournament got a red cloak, and you could bid on the fighters, and whoever you bought, if they won, you got the cloak. So I'm sitting there looking at stuff. People are buying. This one guy was trying to buy both Dak and Torgal. I said no. So I won the bid on Torgal. So somewhere in the semifinals, I'm fighting him. And I step back and wait a minute. If I win, I get a cloak. If you win, I get a cloak. I'll forget it. Let's just fight. And yeah. So I still have that cloak, and it's like 30 years old now or something.
Wow.
Oh, and in there it's really bright red. That's after Asha had muted it down. It was brilliant orange red.
Wow.
It's still real red. Sitting here in the background. Yeah. Okay.
So this
Anyway.
this is Garon's Lurling. You and Cat. And
Okay.
a camel.
Camel.
I think this is a pet camel here that you're playing with.
Okay.
Anyway.
There we go.
And this is Aiden's knighting up in Avical.
Yep. There's my mastering in the white cloak of doom. So over to the left, saluting is William Drummond, and right there, yeah. I'm not sure who he is. Over on the other side, you can see a Whedon's face smiling away there.
Cool.
Okay. It was screaming hot. It was like 100 degrees. And after they handed me this big, huge, Anne of Cleavages handed me this big, huge goblet full of amaretto. I was going, oh, neat, sip. Can you put this back in the bottle, please? Just amazing. And of course, I was in the Champions tournament afterward and just got thrashed because it was too hot. So that's my current armor that I'm still using.
So this is September Crown 2001.
and she's handing me some sort of note I'm supposed to read, I think. I can't remember
Probably your
why.
heralding card.
Oh, or the processional card.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it's
okay.
called. Okay.
Sure
And
about this one.
she says 1997 in a Roman outfit.
Oh, that,
Looking very handsome.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And there's another of the forge setup. I
This
think.
one is as, I want
Great.
to say one of the grand things or all things.
I think it's a grand thing.
And that's where someone gave me a little toy arrow, bow and arrow, and I was sneaking up on Alana. And I launched an arrow at him and he didn't even notice. Oops, something went beep on my computer, which I couldn't find. There's me standing in the background being whatever at Aiden's 90. Yeah, had to be
Yeah. And then that's the belt.
the belt that goes around 3 or 4 times. And
Here's a
there's
gold.
me fighting Sir Garen with a great axe.
At this time, you're his squire.
I probably, that was my second helm that I covered up with some fur to make it look not quite so bad.
And we saw that one already.
Grr. Yep. The giant
There's the
horn of
huge horn.
doom. This is down at Gold Beach area. And that's
Aziza,
Aziza. I'm so bad with names.
Octamisade's squire, and Suvia, her mom.
Mhm. And that's the horn of doom. I don't even know what critter it came off of. It holds pretty much 2 gallons, I think.
Ease.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then this is a series of pictures, I think, from Estrella when Davin was maybe king the first time.
Maybe, or again, they got a whole bunch of these tabards to hand out to everybody. But this is like the silver dollar tournament, so counts are better to enter, or royal something. I
And
think it was that
somebody
one.
probably would recognize who this is, but
It's
Yeah.
Duke Brian of Tarragon.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that was one of these. I don't know if it was this particular one, but when Gunnar was king, we went down there, and they had the silver dollar tournament. And for some reason, Gunnar wasn't going to fight, but it was like you had to be royalty to enter. And at that time, Sven, his son, was the Prince Royal, which was nothing. It was just like his dad was king. So he ended up getting into the silver dollar tournament for being the prince, for being the son of the current king. And like, well, what titles do you have? Squire. That's about it. Of course, he was already really pretty good. So that's weird story there.
There's a close up of the forge.
Yeah, this one is at I think I want to say one of the Fair in the Grove.
So your portable forge that you bring to events, is that different than the one that you use all the time, or is it
Oh
parts
yeah,
of the same
the
one?
Forge at Home is a propane one, so it's a big brick sort of box. The one that I take to events is coal, so it's an open sort of thing. And there's some differences between the two. The coal forge gets much hotter, so you can actually burn steel in half as opposed to the propane one. But it heats up a small area. The advantage of a propane forge, well, it heats up the whole box, whether you want to or not. So, but the heat's very consistent. So, and it's not as smoky and stuff. I don't have a good ventilation system if I wanted to try to do that.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties again.
Oh, but it was the kitties.
There we go. Sorry.
It's the kitties. That was at, I want to say something over in Yakima, but, and Reggie had a batch of kittens she was trying to find homes for.
Aw.
So I got a chance to have a bunch of kittens.
And if
Hang
you
on.
were to be asked, are you a cat or a dog person? there would be no contest.
It's just pretty much cats. I don't mind dogs, but I would not have a dog in the house. Cats are wonderful. You pick them up, cuddle them. Dogs are wonderful, but you have to like go take them out for walks and stuff. So like kitties. I like kitties.
It's so high maintenance.
They really
Yeah.
are. Mine never leaves me alone. There's
Back to that.
another, even a better face.
And there's the
Aw.
Masterpiece Theater. So we've got me and Master Corwin Arianad at the Trojan plant area, which is
That'll be a Sport of Kings.
working.
That's such a great event.
Here's Davin being menacing, and me standing behind him going, "Don't you come this way." I think that's
And Steingrim and I think
Steingrim.
that's Ellison
Elsa, probably.
and Torgal here are kind of laughing, which is kind of
Just Torgal. Yeah. Oh, here is me officiating at Jonathan's wedding. Jonathan being the son of Ivan Drenger, or Jerry. They wanted to be the officiant. Since Oregon doesn't really care, I just put my name on the little sheet of paper and it worked out. So of course, they're very silly people. Their wedding was the groom's side was all stuff from like the Mad Hatter. And Stephanie had everybody in elf ears and fairy wings.
Nice.
So of course it started with marriage, a dweeb within a dweeb. And it went sillier from there. So
Are you available for ceremonies, or is that just a family privilege?
Well, as long as I've got a quote unquote thing from Universal Life Church, so I'm a ordained minister. Yeah. And Oregon just needs, they don't really care who you are. You just put your name on the piece of paper. You don't have to have any official anything.
So this is the only piece of your work that I pulled. Do you want to say anything about it before we switch to your pictures?
Okay, so that one, I made the blade, nice little Damascus or pattern welded blade, sort of a randomish pattern. And Vrin, Maestro Vrin, made all the fittings. All that brass and stuff. He does all wonderful like lost wax casting and stuff and junk. All those little fiddly bits that I don't really want to do. Matter of fact, I won't do it because it's a whole other skill set to make those little brass bits. Yeah. So
He's amazing.
yeah, Vrin does amazing stuff.
Okay.
So Torgal says that he has a story about tent stakes at an Eagles that involves you.
He also says it's inappropriate.
Yeah, we drove in a VW van from Seattle down to wherever the Bell Fountain Park outside of Eugene. So we all got up afterwards. So we're getting there like 2 a.m. and we're putting in tent stakes. Of course, I'm really tired, and I flipped some of the letters. Tent pegs or cunt pegs. It was cunt tags. It was like, I said, "What are you guys laughing at?" And we're all just hilariously laughing about the whole identity. So when you drive for 6 hours in a VW van, okay, which was the first 5 or 10 years of me doing stuff in a VW van. Why? Because I had a van and I could drive.
They are not the fastest of vehicles, but they're so cool.
Yeah, just going up the hills outside of Portland. It's like, like, look, I'm doing 20. All right. Let me see if I can share. Speaking of Torgal, share screen. I'll share that one. Let's see. So you see that?
Yes.
So a while ago, Torgal asked me to make some Damascus or pattern welded steel, and then he made these rings out of it. So all those little layers. Can you see my mouse pointer moving around?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I made all this layers, and he basically cut these out and added also. He made one for me also. It's sitting around here somewhere. I gotta find it. So let's
Very
see what else we
cool.
got in this thing here. Here's another pattern welded blade. This one's very Norse because it is a twist left, a twist right, a twist left, and a twist right. Twisting back and forth, and then the 4 bars were put together. Now, people call it Damascus. The real name you should call it is pattern welded because it's 2 different steels welded together and then made patterns out of. But that's what everybody calls it. So Damascus. Um, there's the whole thing.
So
So
beautiful.
pretty.
I have no idea when I made this and where it went to. I think I sold it as is to someone to put their own handle on it. I'm pretty sure. Here's a set of weird curved chopping blades I made for Mr. Wolf. And then there's this guy who does saddle work, and he's a really good leather saddle maker. I have him make sheaths for me all the time, and that's like a weird artificial purple handle. It's kind of neat.
It's kind of cool.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have a picture of the inside of that. Nope. Okay, so a while ago, I made a sword blade of I would call the Sutton Hoo style. Um, it is multiple bars of steel. So the center core of it is 4 bars of 13 layers each, twisted and put together. And then the layers, I think 30 or 40 layers on the edge of the sword. Now, this is all the fittings were done by Duke Torgel or Patrick Conlon, who still makes some beautiful stuff. Actually, he's making even better because this is only last year or year before he made this one. And let's see what we got. So there's the details.
Wow.
That is, the base of that was copper, but it's been gold plated and silver inlaid. I believe that is, I'm not sure, I don't think it's solid, but it is gold. When I had this blade, I said, hey, Torgel, hey, Patrick, I got this blade. It's been sitting around for a year or two, and I should actually get a handle put on it. And he said, sure. So now you're starting to see there's the blade that I didn't do any of that stuff. That's all his. So here's this stuff down here. And I got something popped up on my list here. What is popping up? Hold on. Oh, cats. Bridging the night? Oh. Anyway. Oh, I think she's referring to this. Oh, the Roman outfit. We went to a Forever Night thing, and some of the background stuff was about Roman stuff, so I had a Roman outfit, which is why that was there.
Okay.
So anyway, so there's, you can start seeing the blade. Hopefully I got some pictures of the blade in this. There's all the fittings. There we go. There's the blade.
Wow.
Oops. Stop it. Okay. So you can see it has twisted sections in here. And it goes to straight and back to a twist and back to straight. And then there's a bar there that's just twisted all the way. And you can sort of see the straight layers along the edge.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing.
If you look up the Sutton Hoo sword, it's even more amazing with that one because it actually has more bars and stuff in there. A very traditional way of doing this until from about the 400s or 500s up to about 900 AD. The main purpose of this was to take the crappy iron and make a good sword out of it. So a lot of this is taking the crappy iron, folding it, twisting it so that the higher carbon steel sort of mixes in. So you end up with a piece that won't snap, but won't bend as much. So by 1100s in Europe, this technique had completely disappeared because they did not need to do it anymore. They could make a big chunk of steel to make a sword out of without doing all this twisting stuff. So pattern welded steel is basically a sort of you take the crappy iron, keep flattening it, and impurities squirt out, and you can twist it and spread the carbon out. It's exactly the same reason the Japanese swords are done, is you take 10 pounds of steel or iron, keep pounding it until junk falls out of it and makes it all even, and then you make it into a sword. So to make a 2 or 3 pound katana, the sword, you start with 10 pounds of this stuff, and that's how much goes away in the process. So there's the whole thing. Now, unfortunately, this, either because I didn't know, the fittings are literally from a picture in the book called The Swords of the Viking Age, page 42. This original is in the Museum of Ireland. This whole thing ends up about 4 pounds, maybe a little bit more. It really should not be that heavy. But then again, this fits my hand perfectly. And the one in the museum, someone said they actually saw it. I would not be able to put my hand in it. So this is bigger than the original, and it's probably heavier than it really should be. But oh well, too bad, so sad. It's pretty. There's more of that stuff. There's a detail. So you can see the twisty bits. You see these little black marks here. That's where it's the surface is not quite welded, but down inside it's welded just fine. It just looks kind of odd. And so these are, like I said, copper with gold plating, and then like inlaid little dots of silver. You'll have to ask Patrick exactly how he did that. I said, you said, what should I do? I thought, well, try this page in this book. He goes, oh, cool. I thought he would make something sort of like it. No, he made a museum replica. This should be in a museum. This is literally an exact copy of the pictures.
That's
He's
not
amazing on that stuff.
coming from him. He's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so showing off someone else's stuff. It's got my blade, but that's about it. Okay. Well, anyway, and a bunch of wax casting and then other sheet metal, bronze casting, or not bronze, sheet stuff. So he's got his little castings there. All right, let me see if I can find. Let me close that one, and I'll show off some of my stuff here. So that went away. Okay, let me see if I can find the.
We practiced this ahead of time, so he knows.
Yeah, we all know exactly what we're doing now. Ha 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 ha.
No
I
pressure.
just gotta find what I just did. No, where to go?
Are there any questions on the chat, Rifkin? That
Well, somebody asked about the award-winning stout and the garlic stout.
Oh God. I don't know about the award-winning one. I entered a stout somewhere one time, and I got like honorable mention. But one time I was making a stout, and I had some left over. So I put a whole bunch of garlic in it and ginger. I was making ginger or something else. I had a leftover ginger. Threw it. I made one really big, like champagne Magnum, those really big champagne bottles, and opened it up. And if you smelled it, you did not want to drink it. But of course, Montford at the time was known for eating or drinking almost anything. So he took a sip and he said, well, just hold your nose and drink. And he goes, I'm drinking a pizza. And I went, what? As I tried it and went, that's really good. It's the only time I ever made that. Come on, open up.
Had to plug your nose and drink it, huh?
Viking sword, total sword, walk. Boarding cutlets? How about a boarding cutlet? Let's see. No, those are example textures, not mine. I'm trying to find stuff. Camera pictures.
So while you're looking, can you tell us what the origin of your moose jokes are?
Moose jokes. Yeah. That's I don't know. Why did we have, I can't remember the way into it, but he ended up with the sort of like a weird sort of sign language. You go, here, there's a moose. And they go, what's this? That's a drunk moose? What's that? a really drunk moose, and that's the moose the next morning, right? And from there, people seemed to like it, so I kept on making up more stuff like Mooster Spock, get the pissed off moose, the pissed off Vulcan moose, and you got oh that's just a moose. What's that? That's a Mussolini. The Nostradamus and the Moose Stash, Punk Moose, whatever. Anyway, so it just kept on going. On
Deflatamoose.
the Flater Moose, yeah, right. Anyway,
And then the other question that was lingering was, how did winning Forge and Fire change your ability to sell items and attract students?
it helped quite a bit. I got more business, more students, and even with the COVID shutdown, it seems to have. I seem to actually have had more students than before. Okay, so I'm going to share this one. So you see that there's a straight razor. All right, you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
This went, the guy asked, I need a straight razor. I said, sure. And when he gave me his mailing address, Slovenia. So this went to Slovenia. So that was kind of cool.
That's super cool.
Took him like 5 weeks to go through customs and other crap, but so
Very cool.
yeah, I've done like 3 or 4 straight razors, and I think I've sort of figured it out now. Let that go away. Of course, can I find the stuff I had before? No.
We had it
Back
all like
up.
emptied and everything. That's-
Yeah, but then I sort of, apparently I closed it.
What's your favorite thing to make?
I really like making the pattern welded steel, especially the Norse style, the sword I was showing you. Because it's kind of complicated and it's something that no one really does. Where did it go? Buggers.
Um,
Um,
I can pull up your photos off of Facebook of the axe ones.
sure. That's what I was trying to find, and apparently I've lost everything.
Okay.
Pictures.
So,
Where did I go?
okay.
There you go. So when I'm teaching a class, I usually end up making whatever the students are doing too. So on my axe making class, here's some of the axes I made along with my students to show them how to do it. So these are
Mm.
mild steel. Same thing. Don't. That's fine.
Okay.
The main body of the axe is mild steel, and on this one, that the beard, that's the only high carbon steel in the whole thing. It's a very traditional way of making it.
And what's
Um,
beard? Which part is that?
That is that part there. The one part that hangs down is called the beard.
Okay.
So all the rest of it's mild steel, and it gets forge welded together with that little piece of steel there right on the edge. Because back then, the steel was very valuable, and actually was. They didn't really know how to make it. They just made a bunch of iron, and some bits of it was steel. They would then, of course, make an axe and put the steel right at the edge where you need it. But because the rest of it doesn't need to be that.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay. So
Those are those the only photos on here? Looks like,
possibly, yeah.
okay.
I have my personal part under Nick Marcellia. So you can look at that one, and there's a lot more pictures on there.
Okay, I'm gonna just flash everyone my Facebook now.
Flash.
Ah,
You're every one of us. No.
yeah, that's me there.
There we go.
All right, so yeah, those are several of my knives that I made. I have Cascadia Cutlery is one of my distributors, sellers. So I give them to him and he does all the selling and goes to the knife shows.
Nice.
So there's, let's see, several plain steel ones, and the one with the antler is a Damascus of some sort. Yeah. And I get other people to make sheaths for me. I don't like working with leather that much.
Let's see.
And there's more pictures of that.
Oh, you know what? I'm not actually on your page. That's why I'm having problems.
You guys aren't friends.
We aren't friends. What is
There
that?
we go.
There we
Those are the
go.
things I made on Forged in Fire. They call them deer horn knives, but technically they actually should be called crescent moon knives because of the way the shape is. Yeah, that was a whole bunch of fun on that show. And of course, after I got on the show and did the stuff, my business started being not quite so much downhill on the bank account. It's more like sort of level now.
Let's see.
There's all sorts of fun stuff.
I'm looking for maybe some knife albums. Oh, should we look at your students?
That's some of the student knives, yeah.
Okay.
Where's the furthest you have shipped to? Was it the straight razor?
I did one to Cephalonia, and a guy in Thailand wanted a rock hammer. So I sent one to Thailand? No. Somewhere down there. No, the name's not popping up in my head. I want to say Taiwan. Taiwan. It was Taiwan.
Cool.
So that little thing was a knife that broke, and then I just cleaned up the end of it. Now it's a little chiseling something or other.
Like it's a little teeny spatula.
Yeah. And curved something or other.
It's pretty.
I don't usually start when I'm making a knife, do a lot of like pre-planning. I call these blacksmith knives. You got the spring handle. You don't have to worry about making a handle. So
It's beautiful.
yeah. This guy ordered a flaying knife. I can always get away with saying general purpose camp kitchen knife. There you go. Oh, this is, I call the Cthulhu dagger. Well, it's a Damascus pattern welded, but I left it in the etchant like for, instead of an hour, or like 2 days. So the blade looks like it's been in the ground for a couple thousand years. It just looks like some weird cultist should be standing over the sacrifice and going, "Oh, great Cthulhu." Ah.
Did somebody buy it?
It has a very bizarre history. Yeah, someone bought it, but then they got pissed off at me and they gave it back to me. It's weird. So now I think it's sitting over at Cascadia Cutlery for sale. A lot of times I'll find fun wood or stuff. This is a stabilized green dyed maple, I think.
Wow.
Very pretty.
Nice. Anything about these? Did we lose him?
No? Oh, maybe we did lose him.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. They're pretty cool though, like the twisted handles. I
They're
think he's
really cool.
frozen.
Okay. Well,
Well. Oh, and he's gone.
okay, he's gonna
Oh,
come back. Marion just said, I'm just gonna surf my Facebook now online in front of everyone. So Marion just sent us this. This is the that 12th night stained glass project. And this is him in front of his, and he's tasting the knife. And I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see when he asks to come back in. If he does, I don't know.
I can tell you too.
Okay. And let's see. Oh, Kat said those were railroad spike knives.
Oh.
That's what those
Oh,
were.
Fleeg asks how we can lose someone that big.
I don't know. But
we did.
Yep, we did. We're good at losing people apparently.
So who made him a lion? Was it Davin?
I don't think it was.
I was gonna look it up, but
You should look it up because I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. I was gonna ask him, and but I was gonna talk about who we have next week.
okay, let's do that. Well,
Okay,
we wait.
while we wait, because this is the last June interview or May interview, and then we're into June.
Yep.
So on Tuesday, for Branch of Laurels, I have Viscount Seamus O'Callay. I probably said that wrong. He is a apothecary, Laurel. He's a pharmacist in real life and studies medieval medicine, and he does some really interesting. And
Is he the one that wrote the book?
Yeah, he's written a book. He studies lots of things that have to do with urine and awesome, interesting stuff. And then on Wednesday, we are interviewing Duke Gunnar.
Yes.
So that's what we have next week. Are you doing a leveling up on Sunday?
Yes, Sunday. Kinnahild, I think, is teaching us how to sign our names in a period way. So that's something I've never really gotten into. I've sort of looked at it, but it's kind of hard to figure out like which hand is appropriate for you. So I'm hoping she goes into all of that, and we can do something more than runes, because runes seem to be the default when you don't know how to do calligraphy. So
Kat says that Gunnar and Gabrielle made him a lion 12th night 2004.
There you go. Excellent. Well, I'm not sure he's coming back, so
I'm asking her right now.
He might have made a dramatic exit. As Johan would say, he's moosing in action.
Oh. That's really bad.
So yeah, but Gunnar should be very interesting. Yeah, I have got a ton of pictures. It should be cool. So
very cool.
Yeah, and then I think in July we're going to take a little break.
Yeah, we are. We are working with I'm working with somebody on a new series that may be premiering in July, but we don't have it completely finalized yet. So it's
you haven't even told me about this.
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay. I just
yeah. I okayed it with you.
Somebody else says mistakes have been made.
Mistakes have definitely been made. June will be the last month for the Branch of Laurel series. I'm closing it out with an interview with Her Majesty Antir. And then hopefully this new series will be taking that spot. And it may start in July, it may start later. We just don't know yet. So
I remember now.
Okay. I'm not crazy.
And if any of you guys have any ideas for leveling up episodes that you would like to see, please just either message the sisters or leave a comment or message me personally, Misty Edmondson on Facebook. I'm very happy to do that. I have things in the back of my mind about banner making. something that I love to do personally. And maybe helmet bags, other kind of bags. I love those kind of projects because they're kind of palette cleansers for me. So anything.
I can
So
talk about.
I don't think he's coming back. So I think
Oh,
maybe we should just call it a night.
No, let's wait until we hear from Kat because she's checking on him.
Okay.
And they may just, because she's on the internet, so I don't know. He may just be having technical issues. We could include those weird pennant things that I made. And
Yeah.
and my cooler cover.
Yeah. Sure.
You even know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
When you thought the franchise part of Sport of Kings was heraldry, right? Those pennants that you made.
What?
The pennants you hung up in your tent.
Yes. Sorry, I was just reading. His computer froze and he had to do a total reboot.
Okay.
So, and I think I need to resend him the link. So.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. So somebody said they'd love to see some of the banners. So that's yeah. So I will definitely put that together. You can paint them, you can applique them. They're just super fun to do, and it just totally ups your heraldic presence, processing into crown tourney or just anytime. So we will definitely put that together.
Okay, so hopefully he will find that.
So we'll just sort of like known world gossip a little bit. I am really looking forward to watching the East tournaments crown and their feeder tournaments into their big crown list. I'm really interested in how that goes down and how it plays out. And I think they're going to be streaming. And I'm a fight junkie, so I'm really looking forward to that. I just think it's so creative. And I'm just really excited to see how it works out for them. So, oh, it says it's waiting to let him in, but I don't see him waiting.
Hold on. Oh my God. Now I'm having issues.
What? Then also North Shield is oh, here he is. Okay. You guys don't have to listen to me talk about fighting for forever. So.
Hi, welcome back.
Yeah, my computer decided to freeze itself up and okay, so get this other stuff out of the way. There we go. Streaming live. Yes, I know that, you silly machine. Okay, so we were
looking at pictures.
Railroad knives. Railroad knives?
We ended
You're
at
right,
railroad tie knives.
railroad spike knives.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Yeah. So you teach out of your studio in your garage, right?
Yep. Yeah. Out of my garage, basically, yeah.
And do you do like group or do you do private lessons or how does you hooked up with that?
It's a private lesson. What I do is I can take 1 to 4 students at one time. I've got 2 anvils, and you can trade back and forth on each anvil. So 4 people is kind of a zoo, but actually it's doable. But it's really a private lesson, and it'll go basically as fast as people can learn. I don't like being in large classrooms a lot of times because you're always waiting for that one guy in the corner who's still working on step 1 and you're all on step 2 or 3. In general, I do what I call general blacksmithing, which is basically make a couple of small projects like a wall hook or a twisty thing, and then we make a set of tongs. um, so that they have something they can make more stuff with.
Very cool. And are the rates and booking information all on your website at Red?
Yeah, it's all on there. There's a calendar on my website. Any day not in blue is available for a day of class. The blue days are taken with either a class or something like this. Uh, in general, it's like for a private one-on-one, it's $250 for one day. 2, 3, or 4 students, I just charge $400 because after the second person, you just start getting in each other's way. I have 2 anvils. I only have 1 grinder for doing the knife classes. So it sort of does that.
Limits the number.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. I would love to get my kid out and take a lesson from you. So
Yeah. I have had as young as 11. I think maybe 9, but I'm not quite sure. But anybody under 18 has to have a parent or guardian type person there. Or I can do one of those things for one of my friends. He got the waiver sort of form that they usually use for schools when you send the kids off to do something or other. So I was able to work that one out, but I prefer really to have a parent there so that if something does go wrong, I can just say, okay, here, take them off to the emergency room.
yeah, that I would want to be there if my younger child was doing that. My 17-year-old is probably fine. He's 6'5".
Yeah.
He'll be good.
Yeah. A lot of it is just whether you can actually. I can't do that. I'm gonna do that. I found an image to share, I think. No, I gotta go try the whole share thing again. There it is. There we go. You get that?
Alrighty.
So this is what is called a pineapple twist with a nice little hook on the end. What else we got for this one? And there's the other end of the fireplace poker. We got overall. There's the overall picture.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I've split my classes up into various things, but really what it is you have my attention for the day. So if you want to jump around from topic to topic, that's fine with me. You just may or may not get any one thing done. So I split it up into like a general blacksmithing, make a set of tongs and maybe a ball hook or something else. Basic knife, you make a basic knife with, and by the end of the day, have it ready to put a handle on. Maybe you get a handle on it, maybe not. That's not guaranteed on that. I do a class. If you want to spend the day making the handles, you can do that. You make an axe head. Again, the handle part is up to you. That's woodworking. And then there's basic pattern welding or Damascus clouté. That does, I charge a little bit more for that because you use up like $50 worth of steel.
Yeah.
And you use the power hammer all day long, smashing things flat. Okay, so I found that. And so let's go find another, maybe find something else to show you.
Were you surprised when you were offered your laurel, or was that something that you knew was coming?
I can't really remember that well.
It was, 21 years ago, I think.
Yeah, something like that. There we go. Here's one. Here's another share. There we go. There's a raindrop pattern Damascus knife or pattern welded knife.
Very beautiful.
well, they were talking about it for a while. So I'm sort of like, you want to give it to me for what? Because I did music, I did brewing, um, stuff like that, but I never did anything long enough for anybody to really get impressed by it, I guess. And then I started doing the smithing stuff, and they said that's really cool, I guess. Um, not there's a few other people doing it in the SCA, at least in our area, but apparently I was the one that stood out a lot. Well, Michigan got a laurel in it too, so that's something else.
So the little rivets
Yeah,
those are
guys.
really pretty.
So those are called mosaic pins. Basically, it's a brass copper with a tube. And let me see if I can find one of these that's a little closer. That's me and my big ugly hands. That one's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you take a tube and you start fitting other tubes and circles and things into it until you end up with a nice pattern. And then you just fill all the empty space with either like epoxy or super glue. Super glue works really well. I made like one with time, and it was real simple, and it was a pain in the ass to do. So I just buy them. There's a guy locally been making them for years. I think he just recently sold his business, but I get like a 1 foot length of this stuff for like $30, and you use up maybe 3 inches on one knife.
Right.
So it's only adds about $10 to the cost or something like that. But I can charge a lot more because it's got mosaic pins in it.
Yeah, they're really attractive.
Yeah, that's it. That you can see that one really well.
Nice.
JakeKnives.com, I believe, is still the website to go to buy these. Any of the knife supply shop websites have them too, but he has the best prices. He actually makes and sells to the other websites.
Mm.
Uh,
These are trade secrets.
no, not really. It's like, yeah, I can make those, but I would spend half my time making them, and I would have to charge way a lot more for them. So I just buy them and use them.
Yeah.
So they're not rivets. They are like a pin that goes all the way through, and that just gets glued into place to hold it. The handle is epoxied or glued onto the tang, and of course there are holes through it already, and you just glue those in. And I like to say that the glue will hold, the epoxy will hold the handles on, except for like maybe sliding. And of course, when you got the pins through it, it doesn't slide. So it's almost impossible to take these handles back off of a knife, which is probably a good thing. Let's see what else I can find here. Yeah, I got a lot of pictures, but they're not really organized. I was trying to find my here's some. The problem is they're in folders and they have a bunch of other stuff in them that I probably you don't need to see.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your lion. We kind of talked
Meow,
about it. Huh?
meow,
Meow.
meow.
We kind of talked about it while we lost you. You were given your lion by Gunnar and Gabrielle.
Yep.
And was that a big shock to you, or?
A bit. It was this really weird thing. It's one of the few times they actually. It was a 12th night, and it was out at the coast. But they posted this big list of what was going to happen in court. But just sort of general, award of arms, of this, of that, a laurelling, of this, of that. And the very last thing in court was a Lion of Ontario. And after about halfway through court, where I was bored to tears and I was ready to leave and go do other stuff, my squire kept insisting I stick around. And I'm like sitting there playing cards I'm playing Go Fish with a bunch of the kids. over on the side, and I get ready to leave, and Ivan comes up with another reason to stick around. I'm going, you're being kind of obvious about this guy. Am I supposed to be doing something in court? No, not really. Yeah, right. Okay. And then Torkill comes up and says, "Congratulations for all this." I'm like, "It hasn't happened yet." Oh crap! And Torkill's many things, but a liar, he's not. He is, well, that sort of stuff. He's an actor, yes, but he's not a really good liar on real stuff. So I'm like, you want me to stick around, and you want me to stick around to the end. So it has something to do with that lion thing up on the list. But yeah, it was pretty much a surprise. Now, I have several other friends of mine who said they don't normally stick around at court very much, but they said, "Oh no, I would have been there for that." But because it was a secret, they weren't there, and they're like kind of pissed off about it. But
Yeah,
what can you do?
I didn't get to see my sister get her lion.
My
Well,
husband wasn't there either.
Yeah, I'm still a little twisted about that.
yeah, I think we have this whole thing about we want to surprise people with it. I'm like, more than one of the laurels, especially the cooking laurels, who have been pulled out of the kitchen in their nasty, scrubby stuff and presented in court to their majesties for laurel. And like, you could have like given me a clue, and I could have gone and like washed my face first at least, or like made an appropriate looking outfit for the thing. Yeah. So I think the surprising someone with it is overrated. Maybe like the initial offer a surprise, but the actual whatever it is, yeah, give them time. You let them time to get their whole shtick together for the thing.
I think it really depends on the person though. I know that there are some people that would get so wound up with anxiety knowing that it was coming that it's better just to do
Get it
it,
over with, yeah.
get it done.
But there's several good examples who they say, "Oh, we need to give you this," and they just about puked on the person in front of them because they do not like surprises. And
Yeah.
and then they don't like to be in front of a lot of people. They're definitely not the go up in front of people thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to know. You have to ask people who know them, so you find out, hey, does this person is okay with surprises, or what level of surprise?
Yeah.
So when William gave us our court baron and baroness, it was down at Estrella, I believe. And June does not, Kat does not really like surprises all that much. And well, we need to get her in court. Well, she pretty much expected, because she helped them a lot, to get like the forget me not. So I said, Kat, we have to go to court. We're going to get, the forget me not. She goes, okay, fine. And they did that, and then gave us the court barony stuff. And that was enough where she was not completely surprised, but not too bad. So
Yeah, I think it's one of those conversations that peers need to have with their students for
yeah,
sure, so that they know what they do
What-
and don't want.
what they would like, what they want, no, whether they're going to throw up on people in front of them.
Because nobody
You just
wants.
also you didn't have to convince their majesties that no, this person does not like surprises. And several times their majesties of various ones have, no, we want it to be a surprise. And like, that's a bad idea, your majesty. You really shouldn't do that. No, we're going to make it a surprise. Like, listen, it's a mistake, your majesty. That's the other thing is like the master at arms. That's pretty much our job is look, you don't have that fealty thing to yank us around with. So my job is to go, you're screwing up. Now you don't have to take my advice, but I get to tell you you're screwing up.
I feel like
So,
that is, for me anyway, that's part of the like to speak and to be silent thing too.
yeah,
Being in fealty to the crown, I have an obligation to say something when
you
I
should say something,
train wreck.
but they are not required to take your advice.
Nope.
But
Not at all.
you can then sit back a couple months later and get that look, and they're going, "I told you so." And that's the way you say silent. You just give them the look.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know, we pick up the pieces and move on, and you know,
Yeah.
everybody learns from it. So nobody's perfect, right? Everybody makes mistakes.
Yep.
Except for you.
Really? Hmm?
Or moose steaks, as somebody was saying earlier.
Moose
Yeah.
stakings,
Mistake.
condiments, moose condiments. Mussolini.
Well,
And for some reason, Master Tim got stuck with a bunch of the moose jokes, even though I was the one doing it. So he ended up with, like, they kept finding moose fabric and giving it to him, or he's got like pajamas made out of moose stuff. It's like, what? Those weren't even my jokes. That were his jokes. Go give it to him.
All the masters look the same. Is that the problem?
I no,
No.
we don't look the same. All his hair is still black. He has all his hair, and he has a little bit of gray in his beard. So that's Tim, who went off to do Master Tim. He went off to do some mountain man sort of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, but his idea of a crowd is more than him. So eventually he ended up with the same sort of politics in that group that he just said, forget it. Now he makes, restores vintage bicycles
Oh, wow.
and rides them around Eugene.
Love that everybody has their little niche. Like the
Yeah,
thing.
and he really likes that.
Very cool.
And when you quit the SCA, you have to find something else weird to get into, because
Yes.
that's who we are.
Yeah, we have to find something that no one else does. Well, the only other Master at Arms made in Ontario was Master Rolf, this guy in Canada. And his reason for Master was that he was an underwater welder on the oil rigs. So he goes, I'm only here for maybe a day or two every whenever. And he got his masters, and then he went off and did the oil rig stuff, and we never saw him again, really. I think he showed up like maybe once or twice a year, every couple of years, something like that. Anyway.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a master ceremony in Ontario. Like I don't think there's
Mine was the last. No, Tim's was the last one. Master Timothy McDaniel.
it's really rare here.
There's some notes in the books, but no one really knows what. And Timothy and the guys came up with a whole ceremony. I was all ready to go, and then Barrick Bayardai lost the ceremony, so he had to wing it during the whole thing. It was like, I know there was something else we were supposed to do, but oh well, keep going.
Awesome. Well, we're at about 2 hours. Is there anything that we have not talked about that you wanted to talk about tonight?
The squirrels. No, never mind, not the squirrels. We don't talk about the squirrels. Don't talk about the squirrels.
That's a secret.
Quiet, squirrel. No, not really. I yacked about a bunch of my stuff, some of my history. Like I said, I'll go out and fight like maybe once a year, maybe twice.
You had an
I have to go.
injury at one point.
What?
You had an injury at one point.
Oh yeah, I blew out my ACL on my left knee. Well, to the point where when they went in to try to fix it, they couldn't find it. It was gone. So blew out my ACL on my left knee, not from getting hit, but from trying to turn, and my body turned and my foot did not. So all the twist went onto my knee. That was one of the most amazingly painful things I've ever experienced.
It was one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to watch.
As I fell on the ground and screamed, and the people 200 or 300 yards away in the woods at the archery range are going, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And Mr. Wolf was saying, "I think that's Grendal screaming." That was truly painful. And I was on a roll. I was like, that season, I was going great. I felt good. I was running around. I was chasing people down, and like then my knee just got destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
What site was that? Do you
That
remember?
was the Boy Scout camp and west of Portland, out in the forest.
Yeah,
Can't remember which one name it was, but it was a Boy Scout camp.
yeah. It was at a war college.
Yeah, it was War College. I was chasing Avalok down with a spear, and he was running like crazy. The little, she's like, "Har, har, har, har." Yeah,
Ah, good times. Well, I'm really sorry that happened. That was a horrible day.
it was fine up to then. And about an hour, half an hour later, it didn't hurt at all because it was gone.
Absorbed.
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it can't hurt if it's not there.
Right.
But you're fine now. It's not
I'm
a
fine now.
fine.
Oh, the doctors say I'm okay. They let me out every Tuesday.
Awesome. Oh, Rivkin, do you have any other questions?
I don't. When I was looking through your OP entry, it really struck me that you've been given the Muckingtall Mall a couple times and the
Oh
pernicious
God.
lily. You just had still a very cool presence on the field, like always full of life and fun, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, it was always a lot of fun. And a lot of people don't realize they go out to do the fighting, and yeah, you're trying for the martial art, but you have to remember you're doing this in front of an audience. And I've watched some actual martial arts, uh, like Eastern martial arts, karate and other things, and they're boring to watch because they're going so fast and so quickly, and all of a sudden one guy falls down or one side, and then what? Somebody won? Like some of the modern fencing, a bunch of stuff happens, and then someone gets a point. You're like, wow, that's way too fast. You can't tell what's going on. And they're concentrating on the combat art of it. So they're not. So I was out there to have a good time. Yeah, I was trying to win, but mostly I was trying to have a good time. And if that meant I'm just going to scream and charge and knock this guy over, good. So I had this amazing reputation in wars of doing all sorts of stuff. And I go, well, yeah, I don't remember that. I screamed, I charged, I knocked a bunch of people over. I didn't actually swing at anybody. I just knocked them over. Like my one time I went to Pensick, I was in the open field battle, and after the third hold in the first 5 minutes, um, I had one guy fell down in front of me, and I just sort of waved my axe at him, saying, "Yield." He goes, "Sure." Oh, Grendal, hi, how you doing? It's another guy from West Kingdom. Yeah, I came 2,000 miles to get killed on the ground by Grendal on the open field battle, and that was the only time I ever actually swung at anybody, except for pickup fights at Pensick, which the pickup fights were great. The battles were like 2,000 guys. Who knows what's going on?
And they always
Yep.
put on tier and reserve, so we're always fighting pickups in the backfield anyway.
Yeah, well, it was because we only have like 20 guys. It's like
Oh,
that's not
right.
even a unit.
Yeah.
No, they miss it, and they don't allow what we do all the time, which is to form into the giant wedge and just charge. Like apparently they don't like that.
Yeah, they have tactics out there. I mean, crazy.
Well, our tactics is to break up their formation and then go to single combat. Because
Yes,
most Ontarians are much better at single combat than they are at any war fighting.
absolutely 100% true.
Yeah, all cowboys as they call it. Anyway, I'm babbling for 2 hours now.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with us. I really appreciate
Sure.
it. Yeah.
If anybody wants to yak about blacksmithing or stuff, just come on Facebook and other stuff.
Yep. And I posted the link to your website in the comments and to the Red Troll Forge. I can say it.
Not
Facebook.
that difficult.
3 hours of sleep. I'm just gonna keep.
Okay. Yeah.
You are in rare form tonight, I have to say.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Giggle, giggle, giggle.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching and bearing
Yeah,
with us.
thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us, and thank you again. It's been quite a treat. So
Thank you. It's good to see your face.
Bye
bye.
bye.